Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. I've always loved the woods. Not the crowded, manicured kind with paved paths and smiling tourists, but the deep, forgotten stretches where the trees grow tall and twisted, where the wind whispers secrets, and the kind of silence that feels alive. It's why I camp alone. I need it. The solitude, the feeling that the world has melted away and I'm the only one left. Last October, I decided to push further than I ever had before into the heart of White Pine National Forest. I found a spot near a creek that cut through the forest like a silver thread. I pitched my tent, stacked some dry wood, and lit a small fire. Smoke curled lazily into the night air, and the stars hung low, heavy, like they were watching me. It was perfect, the kind of perfect that makes your chest ache a little, because you know the world won't stay this way. I sat by the fire, tossing a few sticks in to keep it alive, sipping from my flask, feeling the cold settle into my bones. And then, around midnight, I heard it. Snap! A sharp, deliberate crack from the underbrush. My heart jumped. At first, I told myself it was an animal, a deer, maybe, moving clumsily through the undergrowth. But then another snap, closer this time, and another, slow, steady, too purposeful to be random. I froze. My fire gave off just enough light to paint the trees in long, trembling shadows. That's when I saw it. A figure tall and possibly still, standing between two pines about 50 feet from my tent. Its shape was wrong, too straight, too dark, like someone had cut a shadow out of the night and planted it on the forest floor. There was no movement, no sound, just watching. I wanted to scream. My mind shouted at me to run, to flee, to grab my things and get out of there. But my body betrayed me. I couldn't move. My hands shook as I reached for my flashlight and clicked it on, hoping to reveal a deer or some lost hiker. Nothing. The figure was gone. My chest heaved. Relief washed over me like warm water, until a soft, chilling whisper slid past my ear. "Why are you here?" I swear, it wasn't a voice that traveled through the air. It was inside my skull, curling around my thoughts. My stomach dropped, and I stumbled backward, tripping over a root, my flashlight skittering across the dirt. The fire flickered, casting wild shadows that danced in my panicked mind. I grabbed my flashlight, turned it back on, and scanned the trees. Eyes, glowing, unblinking eyes reflected back at me from the darkness, maybe 50 feet away. My throat tightened. My legs finally obeyed my mind, and I bolted, tearing through the underbrush, branches slapping my face, roots threatening to bring me down. The forest seemed alive, stretching its limbs to block my escape. But I didn't stop. Not until I reached the gravel road, my car waiting like a beacon, my hands raw from gripping the wheel too tightly. I drove away without looking back. And then curiosity, a dangerous, foolish curiosity, made me glance over my shoulder. The eyes were still there, just at the edge of the trees, watching, waiting. I told myself it was my imagination, that the forest was playing tricks on me. But I can't forget that whisper, that voice that sounded like ice running through my veins. "Why are you here?" I never camp alone again. Not after that night. Not in White Pine. Not anywhere. I don't care how quiet it looks, how safe it feels. I've learned the hard way that some places aren't meant for people. Some shadows aren't just tricks of the light. And some eyes, well, some eyes follow you even when you think you're gone. Even now, months later, I can still see them when I close my eyes. Two glowing points nestled between the pines, waiting for the next person who thinks the forest is theirs to conquer. It's waiting, and I'm terrified someone else will find out just how hungry it is. Story 2. I thought this trip would be simple. A weekend away with friends, tents pitched in the Smoky Mountains, a break from phones, from the city, from all the noise. We found a clearing near an old trail, the kind of place that feels like it's been waiting for you, quiet except for the wind whispering through the pines. The air smelled of damp earth and pine sap, clean and crisp, the way mountain air always does when no one has been there for days. By 9, we had a fire going, the kind that crackled and spit embers, the orange light dancing across our tents. We laughed, told stupid stories, roasted marshmallows, and then, as always happens when the night grows long, the laughter faded. The woods got thicker, darker, heavier. It wasn't a bad darkness. It was the kind that presses against you, makes you aware of the night itself. Around 10, Jake whispered, and I swear I could hear the fear threading through his voice. "Hey, do you hear that?" At first, I didn't. Just the fire popping, the occasional rustle of leaves, maybe a squirrel or a raccoon. But then it came. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. They circled the clearing, careful, deliberate, methodical. My stomach turned over. There were only 4 of us, and every one of us was inside our tents, pretending to ignore the first flicker of panic. We called out, our voices small, a little too nervous, and the forest swallowed them. No response. The footsteps kept moving, always just beyond the firelight, always circling, always waiting. Then our phone started dying. Not just low battery warnings, signals dropping like stones into a pond. One by one, Jake, Matt, and Sarah all checked theirs, and one by one, each screen went black. No bars. Nothing. I tried mine, but the result was the same. Silence. Only the footsteps. I want to leave. I want to scream. But we had no idea which way to go. The woods seemed to stretch endlessly, and our fire, our only small island of warmth and light, was dying. I peeked out of my tent, just for a second, and froze. At the edge of the clearing, barely visible in the shadow of the trees, a man stood, or something like a man. It didn't move like a man. It didn't breathe like a man. Its face was wrong, blank, featureless, a pale void, as if someone had taken clay and smoothed out every trace of human detail. And yet, somehow it watched us. I swear it could see through the thin walls of the tent, right into our eyes. I can still hear the rustle it made when it stepped, not across leaves or branches, but across everything, like reality itself was bending under its weight. We bolted. 1, 2, 3 steps, and then a stumble, roots catching our ankles, our lungs burning, adrenaline pushing us forward faster than our legs could handle. We screamed, not just to warn each other, but because we didn't know what else to do. I tripped and hit the ground, scraping my knees and hands raw, and when I looked up, it was gone. Just gone. No footprints. No sign it had been there at all. I didn't stop to check. We ran until the woods opened into a familiar gravel road, the one we'd passed earlier that afternoon. But something was off. The cops didn't believe us at first, of course. Happens more than you think, they said, dismissing it. But when we pointed out the clearing, the trail we had camped near, they shook their heads. No one camps there. Not for years. That area is closed off. Dangerous terrain. And the path we had run through, the one we thought would lead us to the road safely, according to every map, every GPS, every trail marker, it never existed. We never returned. None of us ever spoke much about that night. Not really. But sometimes, when I lie awake in bed, I swear I hear slow, careful footsteps circling my apartment, just outside my door. And I think of that blank, featureless face at the edge of the clearing, and a part of me still wants to run. Because whatever it wasn't just a man. It wasn't human, and it didn't like being watched. Story 3. I'd been planning this trip for months. Just me, my old tent, a rusty fishing rod, and an isolated lake in Montana that promised nothing but peace and the quiet hum of nature. I arrived late in the afternoon, the sky a melting palette of oranges and pinks, and set up camp near the water's edge. The lake was almost perfectly still, like a sheet of glass stretched across the valley, reflecting the surrounding pines with uncanny clarity. By sunset, something about the water caught my eye. It wasn't just reflecting the sky. It shimmered strangely, almost as if it had a life of its own. I squinted, thinking it was a trick of the light, but there was something unnatural about it. Still, I shrugged it off and lit a small fire, letting the smell of burning pine needles mingle with the crisp Montana air. I cooked a can of beans, sat back, and let the quiet settle around me like a soft blanket. I fell asleep easily, the gentle ripple of the water soothing me. Then, around midnight, I woke. At first, I thought it was the wind whispering through the pines. But it wasn't wind. It was singing. Soft, delicate, hauntingly beautiful. Ethereal, like something not meant for this world. I sat up, my heart thudding in my chest. I strained my ears, telling myself it was just another camper, until I remembered that the nearest trailhead was miles away, and no one could be here without leaving tracks. The singing didn't stop. It seemed to float over the lake, beckoning me. My curiosity, or maybe something darker, drew me out of my tent. The cold night air bit at my skin, but I didn't notice. I walked toward the water, the soft mud sucking at my boots, the reflection of the moon in the lake stretching into something unnatural, elongated, as if the lake itself were reaching toward me. And then I saw them. Faces. Beneath the water, just below the surface. Not ordinary faces, but distorted, twisted in silent screams. Eyes wide and mouths frozen in horror. I stumbled back, gripping the muddy bank, trying to convince myself I was imagining things. But then the singing became clearer, louder, impossibly close. A voice, soft and velvety, whispered my name. My name. I froze. My blood ran cold. My instincts screamed at me to run, but my body moved like it had a will of its own. Then a hand shot out of the water. Pale, slimy, unnaturally long fingers curling around my ankle. I screamed and kicked, falling hard onto the mud. My flashlight, still on the ground, flickered across the lake, revealing more faces. Hundreds of them, pressed against the water like trapped fish, mouths moving, lips forming silent words I could somehow feel in my mind. The voice transformed, no longer soft, no longer melodic. It became a guttural growl, deep and resonant, vibrating through the bones in my chest. It was angry now, furious. I tore myself free and ran blindly into the trees, branches whipping my face, roots catching my feet. The singing chased me, not just through the woods, but inside my head, echoing in ways that made me question what was real and what was madness. I didn't stop until the first pale light of dawn broke over the treetops. When I dared to look back, the lake was calm again, perfectly still, reflecting the sky as if nothing had happened. No faces, no hands, no singing, just the illusion of peace. I packed my tent quickly and left, not even bothering to take my fishing rod. I told myself I'd never speak of it, that maybe I'd dreamed the whole thing, that exhaustion and solitude had played tricks on my mind. But that night, and every night since, I hear it. The singing. Soft, sweet, impossible to resist. It calls me back, whispering my name, promising calm and beauty, if only I come back to the lake. Sometimes, I think it's patient, waiting for me to return. And I'm afraid, because part of me wants to.